Labour Commission (NLC) is expected to meet with the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Public Universities in Ghana and Teachers, the Education Workers Union, and the Federation of University Senior Staff regarding their ongoing strike. The unions are on strike to protest against the government's failure to address concerns related to pensions and the alleged wrongful cancellation of their overtime allowances. George Quinning is monitoring the NLC meeting for us. He joins us live. George, has the meeting started?
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to our cherished listeners. And the meeting has actually started. It started some 20 minutes ago. And like you rightly mentioned, basically what necessitated this very strike is the fact that the tier 2 pension funds of these associations have been arrears for the past 9 months. And also you mentioned about the fact that the overtime allowance for weekend and holiday work has been scrapped. But according to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, that has been restored, but that is yet to take effect. But likely this very strike has been necessitated because of the pension fund. So I earlier spoke to the national chairman of the Senior Staff Association Ghana, that's Isaac Donko. He says this very meeting, of course, is needless. Why is he saying that? Government knows this. They sent signals since last year. So if government had even met them halfway or full, we have gotten here. So they are going to this meeting with the mindset that they are getting their arrears in full plus their interest, or else nothing will let them call off this very strike. So this is the mindset they are going to the meeting.
So have you seen the personalities present at this very meeting?
Yeah. So all the leadership of the unions are there. I even saw the executive secretary of the Labour Commission before the meeting. So all the people that matter in this very meeting are presently in the meeting as it stands.
Looking at deliberations so far, does it look like we should expect some good news at the end of today's meeting?
The impact of the strike is really biting hard. Yesterday I was at the basic school, University of Ghana Basic School, and you can tell that it's a critical issue. Government, I'm sure, is aware of this, and so if anything, if they cannot even meet them halfway, I'm sure they will try and talk them out. Maybe we can meet you halfway. Let's go with maybe 50% for now, and then we can sort the other one. So I'm sure there will be some positive news. Of course, the Labour Commission will not leave anything to chance. At least there will be some, they'll make some proposals for them to maybe take. And it's up to the unions to see if really maybe government can honor whatever thing they want to do, if they give them what currency they is available. If they give 30, how sure are you that they can honor the 70%? So all these will come to play into the, that will go to the decision of the union.
Thank you very much. George Quinning there, bringing us updates of that meeting of the NLC and some Labour unions. Labour correspondent Daniel Poko also joins us live on the line now. Daniel, I'm sure you heard George there giving us details as regards how biting this strike is. Can you give us insight as regards what brought us here?
Right. So basically, what the Senior Staff Association of Ghana is asking for, and which has also been joined by KEWU currently, basically has to do with the need for government to transfer their second-tier pension system. And interestingly, the problem has been running through all the various public sector schemes. There are about 5 public sector schemes as I speak to you. You have the health service sector scheme. You have that of the clock stack, that's the health trust. You also have those within the judiciary as well. And within all these sector schemes, the government owes in excess of 8 months, and that has become a major problem to them. In the case of the senior staff, which is currently before National Labour Commission, even though the Commission is here to call them to a meeting, what you can hazard the Commission asking them to do is for them to call off their strike and come to the negotiation table and be able to negotiate and see how government will be able to pay their arrears to them. Because in this case, government may have to roll out a payment schedule for them to be able to respect. But another latest union which is currently joining the ongoing discussion has to do with the Ghana Residents and Leaders Association and also the Health Service Workers Union. They've also raised similar concerns. In their case, they have proceeded further to petition the regulator, that is the National Pension Regulatory Authority, for them to ask government to transfer those funds to their residents, because as it delays now, investments have been affected, and all those who are retiring are likely not to receive what probably will not be able to receive the investment that so far the average things have been able to do. So the only investment that they are likely to take is the one that the fund managers invested before the arrears happened. But currently, they are also joining the discussion that government must transfer those funds to the registered scheme.
Daniel, having followed this this very issue, and bearing in mind that the NLC is there to try to solve the impasse so we could make progress, does it look like really the NLC can't do much to revert?
Right. So currently, when you go to the National Labour Commission, I've been following some of these concerns for some time now. The commission will first of all ask you to call off your strike, and that's exactly what the commission is going to ask the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Ghana, and also TEWU, for them to call off their strike and come for a discussion. And this afternoon's meeting, you have the leadership of senior staff, the leadership of TEWU, then you have government representatives also in the third meeting, and also rest from the Ministry of Finance, and also rest from the Salaries and Salaries Commission. All of them would be in the meeting with the commissioners as I speak to you. But the first directive for the commission will be for them to call out their strike and sit down for the discussions to be done. Beyond that, if the unions should fail to call off their strike, it will become a bit difficult for the commission to progress further, because when the law says that you need to call off yourself, not to be brandishing either red armbands or red flags when you are negotiating with your other partner. That's what the commission will be doing. But if the union fails to do that and they are adamant without listening to the commission, means that the commission may have to proceed to court and secure court injunction upon the leadership for them to call off.
Wanted here. Thank you very much, Daniel Poku. He is our Labour correspondent. Thank you for bringing us those details. Now, it's less than a year to Ghana's general election, and already the Electoral Commission seems to be occupied with the seeming last-minute changes. One of such is a proposal to change the date for voting from the 7th of December to the 7th of November. The EC gave this suggestion to change the date for both presidential and parliamentary elections from December 7 to November 7 during an IPAC meeting yesterday. The reason for the proposal to change the date from December to November 2024, according to the EC, is to allow for sufficient time for the Commission to effectively manage its operations, particularly in the event of a runoff. We'll be speaking to a senior lawyer very shortly, but the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting saw the opposition National Democratic Congress attend for the first time after years of boycott. Here's a Deputy Director of Elections, Midday Jibril, who represented the NDC at the IPAC.
For now, even parties, we have not concluded our stance yet. What we all know is that as for in terms of the day, moving from date to day in the election day, which is December, we are all for it. As we left the IPAC, we have not made opposition to the IPAC, but we are also not saying that we are in support of it. The reality has done to all of us now to see that political parties are key players in IPAC. So going back there, we are there, but we are also careful how they will also treat and then receive some of the things that we are going to discuss with them.
And you heard that the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC, Midday Jibril. I'm joined on the line now by Jonathan Asonchi Ochre. He is a political analyst. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Let me first get your thoughts on this proposal from the Electoral Commission.
Good afternoon to your listeners. Are you talking about the two proposals?
I'm talking about the proposal to move elections from the 7th of December to November.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember they put forth two proposals, so I wanted to be sure. Well, the point is that it is not a bad idea. It is not a bad idea because it's not going to change the 7th January mandated constitutional provision, which is to ensure that a new government takes over. Here is the case we have some kind of conflict or disputing conflict, so to speak, between the SDA, which virtually has petitioned, and then the issue of going ahead with the elections without them. So if the EC is proposing a date of that nature, I think that it will allow for two important things. Should there be a runoff, then certainly we'll have enough time to prepare so that we'll do a runoff. Then secondly, to probably make room for the SDA. But if you ask me, I think that once the political parties have agreed to this, there is a need for the Electoral Commission to then go ahead and make sure that enough education, or the NCC, run enough education as to the date. Because most people, if you ask me, are aware only of the 7th December. But if the amendment is to accommodate the views of, or the opposition or the petition of the SDA, then I think that it is a wrong path to go. This is a secular nation; it is not a religious nation. And if you remember, in University of Ghana, for example, they have been writing exams from Monday to Sunday, and you have SDA, faithfuls in there writing the exams on Saturday. They don't want to tell us that they are going to, avoid writing exams on the basis of religion. Sometimes we just have to be a bit malleable when it comes to some of these decisions and positions. They don't in any way. I don't think this is what will make us go to hell or go to heaven.
So, Dr. Santiocha, I want to get your thoughts or the basis for your argument. Are you thinking that the EC is bringing out this proposal of change of month, as it were, for the elections because of the SDA concerns?
Well, it should be part of it. It will solve the two problems accordingly. One is, should there be a runoff, will not be in a hurry. It will not also disrupt the Christmas celebration. We will have enough time, most importantly, to do the transition process. So there are some factors, that are motivating this particular decision. The SDA probably has become a byproduct of that. But you see, if we are to run elections on that score, definitely there will ever be a day on the 7th of November that will be a Saturday. And if that is a Saturday, what happens? Because the days are not static.
The EC also talked about what if there's going to be a runoff. You don't find that explanation as tenable?
Oh, it is. It is. But of course, we've been able to do a runoff, within the 7th to the 7th of January. And handing over has been done. We've not had any such problems. It is just that it tends to create problems for our Christmas celebration. So, if you are proposing 7 November, I have no problem with that.
And again, I heard you mention how good it was that the NDC had come on board after years of boycott. For you, moving forward, how do you think this will change the dynamics of how IPAC is viewed and even its effectiveness?
So now IPAC will no longer be a monologue, but will be a dialogue. A place of dialogue, no longer a monologue, because most often than not, when EC comes out with any idea, the party in government is in support of that. The minority parties, they don't really have a voice, because they don't even have any representative in parliament. So either some of them go there to go and do yeah. But those who are major stakeholders are the MPP and the NDC. So if the one who is cutting a path would not know that behind him is some kind of crookedness. So if you don't have an opposing view to a proposition, you will not know that, well, wait a minute, this particular idea that I'm bringing, it has this, advantages and disadvantages. But if it is left with the MPP alone, representing its party at the IPAC, everything EC proposed, in support of that. It is just quite recently that, the Ghana card thing, and even the limited registration that we did, when they all said that, look, doing it at the central area and the district, will bring a lot of cost on the MPs. They are going to bear a lot of cost. But if we are to do it at the electoral and then at the electoral areas.
So let me get your final thoughts on this, and I'm asking you 2 questions in one. In summary, are you saying that the proposal to change the election date is not good? And then, from your opinion or in your view, what will it take the EC to get this across? Aside from the bit you talked about, NCCE educating Ghanaians on the change of date. Okay, seems we've lost Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochre there, but thank you very much for sharing those views with us. We stay on politics and this time take you to the northern region where elections will be held in 4 out of 9 constituencies with MPP MPs in the region. Christopher Mwaku joins us live now on the line. Christopher, what can you tell us from the constituencies?
Yes, so there are 9 constituencies in the
northern region. Out of this, only 4 will be going through the primaries come Saturday, January 27. And the reason is that 5 of them are going unopposed. That is, if you look at Tolong, you look at Bembela, which just joined only this week because Nituo has been cleared and has since been confirmed by the constituents. Now, the 4 that are supposed to see a contest are Nantong, Myong, Yendi, and Zabzugu. As we speak, the atmosphere in these areas are heated up as we get towards January 27 on Saturday for the primaries.
Give us more details on the Yendi issue, because you're looking at a battle between Farouk Mahama and Hajia Abibata Shani. Tell us how the dynamics are looking like.
Yes, so Yendi is a stronghold of MPP in the northern region, and so whoever wins the primaries, in a way, has an edge of winning the main election. So in 2020, 4 of them contested the primaries, and Farouk Aliu Mahama won, and now 2 of the aspirants in the 2020 elections are not going again, so they are throwing their support on Abibata, and so that makes it very difficult for Farouk Aliu Mahama, unlike in the 2020 primaries where he easily sailed through. So in Yendi, the dynamics are that because Farouk has been in power, he has most of the delegates to his side, but Hajia Shani Abibata is also trying to steal her way through to get the votes of the people.
So that would be for Yendi. What about the issue regarding the Deputy Chief of Staff Fawaz in Zabzugu and his contender?
Yes, so Fawaz is also seriously campaigning the constituency and also ensuring that they get some basic social amenities like boreholes and some school infrastructure. So as it stands now, the checks in the constituency reveals that he is some way ahead of his opponent, who is also battling some health issues. So because of the health issues, some delegates are saying that it is better for them to give Fawaz the opportunity to go. So in the Zabzugu constituency, probably with what the delegates are saying, it does appear that Fawaz has an upper hand in the constituency.
Thank you very much, Christopher Mwako. He is our correspondent in the Northern region. Thank you for bringing us those details as regards the elections. Now, we head to the court, and the 3-member panel presiding over the high treason case involving ACP Dr. Benjamin Agbozo is expected to deliver judgment on the fate of the accused persons. In 2021, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agbozo, the late Dr. Mark Palm, and 8 others were arraigned for counts of conspiracy to commit high treason and high treason. The 10 had been arrested earlier in 2019 after a police swoop at the Citadel Hospital, associating the accused persons with a plot to destabilize the country. And we're hoping to reconnect with our court correspondent to bring us what's happening there. As soon as we do get him, we'll bring you details as regards what's happening at the court. Now, to an agric-related issue where a suspected outbreak of bird flu has been recorded at a shem in Sekendi Takrade. The farmers who have not fully recovered from the devastation caused by the virus in 2021 say they are very apprehensive. Irama Smith joins us with details. Irama, what can you report on this very issue?
Yes, I can confirm, because the Western Regional Veterinary Officer has confirmed that indeed there has been an outbreak at Ishim, which is a community near Kojokom here in Sekendi Takrade. The Sekendi Takrade Metro Assembly Environmental Analyst has also confirmed, indeed, as at Monday, they said they were going to investigate, but for now, I think they are not done. So they are not willing to disclose the extent of damage that is happening over there. But I have also spoken to one of the chairman of the Poultry Farmers Association, the ECMA chairman, and he tells me that indeed it is confirmed and the particular farmer is losing more than 20,000 cedis worth of produce. So there is an outbreak.
So that's just that side, but I'm wondering how the farmers are reacting to this issue.
It is a scary period for the poultry farmers here. I have been interacting with some of them, and they tell me outright that they are scared because the virus passes through the air. Anybody at all can send it to their farms or move it from their farms to other places. So they are just putting measures in place to ensure that this does not happen. It is worthy of note that after the 2021 outbreak, some of the farmers have given up. They've sold their equipment and all that. They don't want to go in there because they could not recover from their losses. So those left are also apprehensive of what could happen with this outbreak.
The way we have to wait for about 2 years, close to 2 years to be reimbursed, this is what is going to happen. Other farmers would now want to cover up. They either would kill their own birds and, dress them and go and sell them in disguise on the market, or bury them in their own houses to avoid any such delays and, whatever. Some people are owing so much from the banks, and the banks are on them. So if they will be able to sell the carcasses to be able to raise something small to even pay their debts, they will do it. Why not? Because if they have to wait for a year, 2 years, in fact, not this group of ours, those who had it earlier, some had to wait for 7 years. What sort of business is that?
Indeed, serious concerns there. Before we wrap up our conversation, we are learning of a biosecurity mechanism, as it were. What exactly is it?
So, as I stated earlier, they put in measures, what they describe as biosecurity. Before you enter their premises, you have to disinfect your shoes, your hands, and then they are very careful about how close you get to the chickens. Listen to the ECMA chairman of the association, Ambassador Kofi Dosa.
We have to pray, because you don't know where it's going to come from. Sometimes customers, it could come from even people like you. It could bring it because, you are going around picking stories. You go to the vet, you go to another farmer, you go to this, you could pick it and bring it. So all we are saying is we increase our biosecurity. What I am doing now is ensuring that my biosecurity is really up. And being the chairman of the FIA Kwesimintin Poultry Farmers Association, I'm putting messages across for all my members to increase their biosecurity. Like you said, as soon as you entered, I make you dip your legs into the makeshift footbath that I have done. Filled with omnicide mixed with water. We believe that is also a very good way of disinfection. And then when you enter, we, make sure that we go in with different set of footwears to ensure that we don't carry anything from outside inside. And we don't also carry anything from inside the coops outside. So we are very, very particular. Just now you were here when somebody came, dip your legs into it. He says he wouldn't do. So I have to ask him to go back. Because I can't afford to lose so much at the time. We're losing around 100,000 Ghana cedis. And this economy is not child's play. So, and then we're talking about somebody who's lost 20,000 beds. By my extrapolation, is too much.
And you heard that farmer there expressing concerns. Wrapping up that report from our second D Takrade correspondent Irama Smith. Let's talk about the Black Stars now. And the senior national players have once again been eliminated from the group stages at the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in Ivory Coast. This will be one of many times that the senior soccer national team have failed to meet up to expectations. You recall that Ghana also exited in 2021 AFCON finals in Cameroon at the group stage. And Bioleshon is with the 3 Sports Desk, joins us live in the studio now. How should I even start it? No, but we can start off from Chris Hitton's sack. Some say long overdue, should have been sacked even before the AFCON. For you, why did you think it took the abysmal performance of the national team before the sack?
I believe there were considerations from, GFA and the powers that be, looking at the number of coaches that had been sacked under the Keto Kriko administration. I mean, Chris Hughton sacking makes it 4 coaches in 5 years. And so it would more or less have been a trigger-happy move to sack him right before the AFCON. But since the poor performances of the team in the AFCON, which is deemed very, very important, for progression of the team, it felt a bit right to let him go. But it still is a small part of the problem being solved, because too many coaches have been let go or have been allowed to leave at a very, very short period of time, which isn't good for the Keto Kriko administration, which isn't good for Ghana football, and it's really not good for the progression of our national teams.
So for you, just to wrap up, you would agree with those who make the arguments that sacking the coach is like dealing with the problem from the stalk instead of the root?
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's just a part of the problems being solved. It's a very, very deep problem. I mean, progression of the team from the grassroots to the top hasn't been good over the years. I mean, I quite remember from the 2004 Olympic Games, we had a very good crop of players like Asamoah Gyan and Stephen Appiah and the rest, all playing and then progressing into the national team. I mean, the 2009, winners of the Under-20 World Cup also progressing to the national team, but we've not had that kind of progression in quite a long time, and so it's really affected us negatively. But of course, the coach is part of the problem. His tactics weren't so good, and Ghana didn't perform so well at the AFCON. So
briefly, any names out there, because now the search is on for a new coach?
Yeah, so I mean, in the AFCON, Gambia's coach recently resigned, Tom Fiet, who led Gambia to, the quarterfinals back in the 2021 AFCON. There's also Belmadi, who is now in the market. There's Picho Mosimane, who's been in the market for some time. There's Hever Renard, who a lot of people have been calling for because he's won 2 AFCONs, one with Zambia and one with Ivory Coast as well. And so these are the number of coaches. These are the coaches that are currently in the market and can be recruited to coach the Black Stars.
Thank you very much, Bill Leshon, bringing us updates on the sports front. And that's how we end the bulletin here on Sri Afema. Top story: Electoral Commission under scrutiny as the Commission proposes to change the date for this year's general election. And we brought you some brief analysis. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily. In our headlines this afternoon, ASAP emphasized the need to address loopholes in the energy sector service delivery process rather than introducing new taxes. Also, Ghana's inflation to anchor at 22.4% in 2024, according to research firm IC Research. We have details of these and more lined up for you. Stay with me. Thank you so much for your time. In our first story this afternoon, the Africa Center for Energy Policy has indicated that the government's decision to introduce a 15% value-added tax on electricity tariffs will only add to the burden of consumers who already pay for the utility. The Finance Ministry had earlier announced the imposition of VAT on specific section of electricity consumers, specifying that it will apply to residential electricity consumers who consume above the maximum minimum consumption level specified for block charges for lifeline units. However, speaking on the Sunrise Morning Show, researcher Charles Ofori from ASEP emphasized the need to address loopholes in the energy sector service delivery process rather than introducing new taxes.
If I'm buying 100 megawatts of power and I can only account for so little, right, then means that revenue generation at the basic level, whose money can trickle down to the other aspects of the power value chain to meet their revenue requirements, is not done. So adding an additional, 15% in terms of VAT to the tariff, it's just going to put pressure on those who are already paying for their tariffs. I mean, the businesses and all of those who are being billed and who are actually paying. But we are not really dealing with the fundamental issues around, ensuring that there's efficiency, around ensuring that the decisions that we are making in power distribution, making sure that our revenue requirements are met, making sure that our losses are being reduced,
right,
are not really done to it. And always there is that intervention from government. I mean, if you check the budget, you can see how much the government is willing to put in to prop up and to mitigate power sector shortfalls, whereas these monies could have been used in other social sectors, in the education sector, in agriculture, and in roads and all of that. They don't get those amounts of money.
Right.
But because we have to keep lights on, government is propping the inefficiencies of the power sector, and that is not what we should do to really have a sustainable sector.
That was a researcher at ASEP, Charles Ofori. Also, IC Research, a research firm, is predicting that inflation will decline to 22.4% in January 2024. In its recent report, the research institution attributed the expected decline to improved forex turnout from December 2023 through to January 2024. There's more in the following report. We'll bring you details on that in our later bulletins. Away from that, Ghana's thriving automobile industry is set to receive a major boost as the UK business community appears keen to invest in the sector locally. Already, various automobile industry players from the UK are in the country to explore opportunities in the sector under the Jobs and Economic Transformation in Ghana project being implemented by the UK government. Speaking to 3 Business, team lead for the Jets in Ghana project, Eugene Sagmote, stated that this move could significantly boost the country's economy.
So the UK automotive industry is valued at over 70 billion in 2023. The turnover was about 70 billion pounds throughout the year. The Ghana Jet program is connecting strongly with the UK automotive industry, and you will be interested to hear that today we have the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders who are here in Ghana this week to explore opportunities with domestic SMEs and investors in Ghana. And the SMMT has over 800 automotive manufacturers within their membership, and so it's quite significant that we have the ears and the eyes as well, because their boots are on the ground to explore of the automotive industry in the US. So these partnerships with the SMMT and the UK automotive industry will spur investments in the automotive industry, including technology and knowledge transfer to support Ghana, which has an infant industry, to grow sustainably this automotive journey that we have started on.
Meanwhile, the head of international and at the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders Limited in the UK, Matthew Smith, expressed optimism about the prospects of doing business in the country.
Well, I mean, this is what we're here to understand this week. So I first got to understand about the automotive sector in Ghana last year when I met the people from the JET programme. So I heard about the development of the sector here, about the Ghana automotive policy. So I was keen to come here and understand for myself. We've brought a delegation of companies here And that's what we're doing this week. So we've heard about the development of your manufacturing sector here. I think Ghana's made an excellent start. I mean, you've already attracted investment from major brands, like, Volkswagen and Hyundai and others are here. So we're looking to understand where the opportunities might be as that manufacturing grows and as the sector develops in Ghana. We're also looking at areas like the aftermarket, those fast-moving parts of filters and brakes and those sort of areas where we think there could be opportunities for UK companies.
That was head of International, the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders Limited in the UK, Matthew Smith. We'll now bring you details about our earlier story regarding IC research predicting that inflation will decline to 22.4% in January 2024. The report forecasts a marginal rate of decline in inflation in 2024 compared to the significant declines seen in 2023. According to IC research, year-on-year inflation will fall to 22.4% in January 2024 due to a number of factors, including stable domestic energy prices during the January 2024 Consumer Price Index window relative to the same period in 2023, and sustained control of price pressures as a result of improved forex turnout. Additionally, the research firm expects the delayed impact of the lower electricity tariff implementation that was supposed to take place last month to sustain the disinflation in January 2024. However, with the expected introduction of VAT on residential use of electricity for above lifeline consumers, which was to take effect from January 1, coupled with the new taxes in 2024 budget, the research firm believes that the pace of disinflation will weaken in early 2024 and likely influence the Bank of Ghana in its policy rate decision. Now that's how we bring an end to the business news on 3FM 92.7. Kindly visit our website www.3news.com for more business stories. My name is Manu Afful. Before we go, let's look at some of our headlines which we're going today. ASAP emphasized the need to address loopholes in the energy sector service delivery process rather than introducing new taxes. Ghana's inflation pegged to 22.4% in January 2024, according to research firm IC Research. Have a good afternoon. Black Rasta will soon join in for Urban Blend.